surrounded himself with people. When he campaigned, he knew how to get the vote out, and he ran his last election on "you can lay your hands on it," okay? And that was referring to all the things that he had accomplished. And he worked closely with his constituents, whether they were white or black, to make Tallahatchie County a better place. But his heart was in it more so for his community, because he saw the injustices, you know, that his community was under because of the white regime, okay? So that's why he ran for office. That's why he encouraged and supported other African Americans to run for office and to hold these seats, these positions. And he understood that that was how change was going to be made for them and for him and his community. So I think I answered the question.
The question I had was, I asked earlier, but before today I told once he ran and won, he had to sue the county or the state.
So I want to ask you that too. What was the rat lawsuit? Like he won, but they didn't let him get the seat, and then
Right.
had to sue, and then how did you got to come up with money to sue, don't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you know how to work the political system, he understood by that time, and that is how he got to hold. He won the election, but you know how they'll do. They'll come with a loophole over here. And so, and I think that's, because I'm not really for sure exactly how all that transpired, but I've heard tales of him suing, and I think that came down to redistricting, and that's the question you might want to ask the Magnificent Seven, Eddie and Robert. They can tell you more about that. I do know at one particular time he was ran off the road, and I have heard of that they boycotted and shut down 49, shut it all the way down. And so he was a mover and a shaker in so many different ways. We were talking earlier about an event that I did for Dr. Peugeot, and it's still being talked about because that was the first time that African Americans had ever socialized in that Bayou Bend Club, which is the old country club, white folks country club. That was the first time that Jerome had he had been there before, but he had been there with my father-in-law. My father-in-law was the groundskeeper and the school bus driver, and he was, what you might say, one of the top African-American men of the community that had a relationship with the Caucasian plantation owners and things of that nature. And we did the event at the Bayou Bend Club, and the African Americans were just happy to be there because they didn't think, you know, because up until I think it was like 97 before an African American became a member of it, okay? And no, it wasn't 97, it was about 2000, it was at 2009 before African American became a member of it. But Jerome, because he put me in charge of doing the event, and that's where I wanted, me not knowing, you know, not knowing what it symbolized, and me being a Chicago person and coming here, I don't have the same fears or issues, and I don't understand all of the Southern issues that my counterparts have lived up under because I'm from Chicago. So when I planned the event, and I was telling him, well, I want to have it at the Bayou Bend Club, he was like, and then I just took it from there. I just went to site stuff and like, look, I want to have this event there. And he was like, okay, cool. So everybody was really amazed that I got the event there. And then when the event went off, it was such a nice event where blacks and whites socialized, danced, drank, and ate and conversed together, that it's still being talked about. And that was the first time that it had ever happened. They had been there through the back door, through the cleaning or through, something, but never in that capacity.
Okay, and last question. You mentioned before some of the places that he, developments that he got housing at.
Mhm.
You can just